friends and family, this is Megan Bold, aka Tall the Viguxaram. And I do realize that not everybody watches all of my videos, and so many new subscribers are always asking me questions about like, oh, what things should I know before coming to Korea, or like, you know, just stuff like that. So I was like, okay, well, let me just not assume that everybody has watched every video that I've ever done about Korean culture to know, and let me just make some videos on certain cultural tips that you need when you're just gonna come visit Korea. So anyway, let's go. So the first one is, don't hold the door for people, and people are not going to hold the door for you. Just know. So like, I don't know, I feel like, you know, especially in American culture, I don't know about other countries because I'm from the USA, so that's all I can speak for. But you know, if someone's kind of close to you, you just hold the door for them, right? I mean, if they're far away, obviously you're not going to be standing there for like a minute waiting for them to walk up, you know. You just kind of hold the door for someone if they're close by. And even if they are close by, that person, just to show that they've acknowledged the fact that you're holding the door and spending your time, you know, they'll do a little jog. You know that like, oh, and then they kind of jog a little bit to get there faster so that you don't have to wait that long. Well, but in Korea, even if you're like relatively close to someone, they just tend to not hold the door. And so many times I've just assumed that this person was gonna hold the door, and I just kept walking, and then boom, got smashed in the face. Well, I mean, you know, I didn't really get smashed in the face because I caught it. You know, I was like, oh, they didn't hold the door. And then I used my cat-like reflexes and I grabbed it. However, they just don't hold the door. And if you want to be a nice citizen and hold the door for people, they'll just walk on through, not say thank you or anything like that, and you'll get stuck. There'll be like a line of people. So you open the door, and then people will just keep walking through, and you get stuck there. So then eventually you just have to close the door, let the door go into someone's face, and then just move along your merry way. So the next one I thought about from my mukbangs. You know, recently I've been posting mukbang or eating show, and you guys are like, oh my god, why do you eat so noisily? I hate eating noises. Well, why would you watch an eating show if you hate eating noises? Anyway, I do notice that in general, Korean people eat a lot more noisily than we're used to. We have like these set rules of like table manners where you don't do this, you don't put your elbows on the table, you don't make noise when you eat, you don't slurp, you know, stuff like that. But in Korea, it's kind of different. Like, people tend to eat more noisily, and if you're eating noisily, people are like, oh, 잘 먹네, like that looks like really delicious. If you hear someone like eating and they're making so much sounds, you're like, shoot, I need to eat that too. That sounds delicious. Whereas for us, if we hear someone eating, like, you know, where I was used to in America, it's like, ew, like you lose your appetite. You're like, gross, you're eating like a pig. But here it's totally different. So if you go to a restaurant, if people suck their soup, they're gonna and then make some kind of like noise like that, especially like ajashi, you know, when they drink or eat something good, they're just like, when they drink something hot or like have a drink of alcohol even, they're like something like that. They make noise. And you know, people will talk to you with food in their mouth, etc. So if you're one who, you know, doesn't like eating sounds or something, you're just gonna have to overcome that when you come here. Now, I'm not saying everybody's eating like or anything like that, exaggerated, but I'm just saying you will hear noises. You will hear slurping. When people eat noodles, they will, you know, you hear those slurping noises. So I'm just saying that for you to be prepared. If you don't like those noises, then I don't know what to tell you. You're just gonna have to listen to headphones when you eat or something. On the topic of food, something else you have to know that I don't think I really knew before I came, like the degree of it, is that people will share food with you. And you go to certain places, you get one dish in the middle to share. It's a very, you know, community-oriented country. So when you go to a lot of places, you can't even order food just for one. You have to order food for multiple people. So if you're traveling to Korea alone, there are a lot of restaurants that you won't be able to go to because it's a minimum of 2 people, because the dishes only come in like big pots to be shared in the middle of the table. Along those lines, let's say you're coming and going to like, I don't know, let's say you're traveling to Korea on business and you're gonna be meeting with some like Korean, you know, I don't know, CEOs or something, and you guys eat as well. People will oftentimes share one dish and everyone just push their like spoon in it and like eats out of the one dish too. So if you're a germaphobe in that way, just know that might be something you might have to deal with as well. And even sometimes people like feeding you stuff with their chopsticks. I've had that happen a few times. You just have to get over that germophobia. and know that in certain restaurants, if you come alone, you won't be able to eat. So now there's like trending restaurants that are popping up these days. Like there's one in the Gangnam area. I don't remember what kind of restaurant it was though. And it's like food for one. And it was like trending in the news. Like, oh, you can come here and get food for one. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. And typically you don't see people eating alone in Korea unless they're at a coffee shop like studying or something like that. So that's also something. And the next one I feel like a lot of people know, but I was surprised that there are a lot of people who didn't know this as well. But in a lot of restaurants, not just the ones where you're sitting down on the floor, in a lot of restaurants, coffee shops, businesses, you still have to take your shoes off and put on slippers before you enter in. Especially in someone's house, please don't walk in there with your shoes on. That's like so disrespectful. And in a lot of businesses, if the floor is lower and you have to step up into the business, more than likely your shoes need to come off. And it's even in certain random spots. Like before I moved here, I went to the real estate office. Even going in the real estate office, like you take off your shoes, you put on slippers. And I posted not too long ago a picture of me on Instagram, you know, having a photo shoot in the studio with my management company. And in the studio, I was like wearing my like cute clothes, and then I had slippers on. And the photographer was wearing, well wait, you couldn't see the photographer in the thing. But in a lot of photo studios, I've never been in one single photo studio that didn't require you take your shoes off. And another one, if you're gonna be shopping in a lot of changing rooms, you also have to take your shoes off. Actually, I've never been in a changing room where you could wear your shoes. So there's always like a basket, and sometimes you have to take your shoes off before you enter the changing room, and they'll have some shoes in there that you can wear, like some slippers, but they'll be like high heel slippers if you're, you know, shopping for women's clothes or whatever, so that way you can wear those high heel slippers when you come out to look at it in the mirror instead of wearing your dirty, crusty shoes from outside. And the final one that took me a while to get out of, you would think it wouldn't because you don't want to pay extra money, and that was there's no tipping. Do not try to tip people. It can kind of be disrespectful, I guess, because it's like I work hard and this is the money. Like I work hard. I don't need your charity case, okay? Whatever the cost is, that's what you pay, okay? Which is actually really good. And you get used to not tipping, and then when you go back to your home country and you have to tip, you're gonna be like, oh God, oh man, I gotta pay extra. So then you don't even wanna go eat out because you're like, I gotta pay for the meal plus maybe an extra $5 to $10. So it's like, oh my God, yeah. So anyway, those were just 5 cultural tips that I thought were important for you to know if you're just traveling and you're coming to Korea, just so that you don't, I don't know, offend some people or be like really surprised. I think those are the main 5 that most people who travel here will have to encounter. So, yes. If you like this video and like to see more videos, please subscribe to my YouTube page, which is down below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, like me on Facebook, and I will see ya.